Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. And we're going to spend a little time now with Scott Weaver. He's the president and co-owner of the Douglas J Companies, which are in Okemos, East Lansing, across Michigan, Illinois, Tennessee, Nebraska. The only thing I haven't named is Pluto and Mars. But I imagine you guys have plans to get there. Scott, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me back.
Always good to have you back. Hey, as long as we're on that, let's talk about the future a little bit. What trends are you seeing? Wellness, education, et cetera, and how do you see that affecting the next decade?
Well, being in the beauty business for all the years that we've had, we're seeing a real shift back to that trade education. And, obviously we have our professional salons, spas, barbershops, but a big part of our business being the schools and the education for it. So as we've continued to see, I think I was reading a report just earlier this over the weekend, and as we see maybe some of the decline in the four-year schooling, we're seeing that uptick. It's been on a constant rise, and I think I read about a 4.9% in the trade education. So we're really kind of doubling down on what we do and providing that trade education for students looking for to get into the trades.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys have done a marvelous job with that. Now, so along those lines, what we're finding from our Michigan Future Business Index, which Scenair sponsors, we're finding people are kind of pulling in their horns right now because they're worried about what tomorrow might bring. You guys are so aggressive in your expansion. How's that affecting you?
Again, we're certainly sensitive to that. And, we may see a little bit of that. And we're across the board. So we provide services in our school with the students doing the work at what I'll say is a much more affordable rate all the way up to the professional, the mid to high end levels for some of that. So as we do see some shifting and changing in that, we try to position ourselves as kind of that non-negotiable in the checkbook. And it's more than just the beauty or what you see, maybe looking back in the mirror, but how you make people feel during their experience with that. So as times get a little, tougher in the economy and things like that, people still want to feel good about themselves. And, we kind of cater to that and nurture that as well. So, we kind of try to protect ourselves in that way with our business. But as you said, we are looking to grow and continue to expand. It's just, it's a little shift in the market right now.
Well, it's kind of interesting how people react to that sort of thing when you look at the depression and the attendance at theaters went up because people needed the escape.
Right.
Wellness is part of what you do. Could you touch on that?
Yeah, we've the more kind of holistic approach to taking care of oneself, and when I was a kid growing up, third generation hairdresser, I always looked at beauty as very much a before and after.
Mm.
And what I've realized, after college, I went through school myself and got involved, in the technical side of what we do, and what I've been able to realize is it goes much deeper than that we don't just change the way people look, but we have the ability to change how they feel about themselves, the confidence that we give them. So, looking at the wholeness of the wellness in that. And I think that's a trend that's continuing to grow. And I touched on it earlier, but really focus on nurturing the individual is a focus that we have at Douglas J.
So it might not be top of mind for customers, but you do a lot with state government and issues that to protect your industry. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're always involved with what's going on. We pay attention to that. We try to educate both our staff and our students to get involved as well. And first and foremost locally, what's going on. But that spreads out across the state as well as federally, being in the education side of it. So we're constantly watching legislation that affects both licensing and of not just from a student aspect in the schools, but the professional industry as well.
Yeah.
So we're very active legislatively and what's going on in the state of Michigan and abroad.
Well, that's important stuff. Listen, just coming off Giving Tuesday, right? You guys are very philanthropic. I don't know many companies that do as much as you. Run down kind of a list of the things you do.
Yeah, we've been involved with all types of things. One of our big focuses right now has been really about kids and coming back to school. This year, we made a huge effort in supporting. We did thousands of back to school haircuts for kids that are maybe a little bit less fortunate. It touches back on what I said before. We realized that sending a kid day one to school looking good and feeling confident with how they look really can change the trajectory of their education and what they do. So we did across all of our regions that we're in, we did free haircuts for kids that needed that support and getting back to school. And that's been a big push. Law enforcement, educators, nurses, frontline type people, our veterans. We're involved in those programs continually, trying to give back for those that give so much to serve others. So that's really been our focus the last couple of years.
Well, and you do more than your share. Scott Weaver, always good to have you on. President, co-owner of the Douglas J Companies. Happy holidays, bud.
Well, happy holidays to you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being with us. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.